Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Chai and JRF by Eva. So in this video we are going to understand the concept of square of opposition. So square of opposition is a type of inference that we use in order to find a conclusion based on immediate inferences. In the last video we covered a topic on immediate inferences. So now we are going to cover the part 2 in order to draw conclusion from a single premise, also termed as immediate inferences. So that's how we are going to find a conclusion based on single one premises. So that's what today's topic is based on, that is square of opposition. So let's get started with today's video. In order to move ahead, let us see the various types of relationships that we are going to understand and go through, right, in order to find the inference based on single premises, and it is considered as a square of opposition. So what exactly is a square of opposition? So square of opposition, it is a type of a square that relates various kind of categorical propositions with each other. Why are we relating our categorical propositions? So that we can find our conclusions and draw inferences based on certain premises. So here we have this A type of categorical proposition. You might remember this, that A is a type of a proposition that includes all, and E is a type of proposition that includes no, and I is a type of proposition that is some, and O is a type of proposition that includes some not. So in this video we will be covering the various relationship between these categorical propositions. So there are certain relationships that we are going to understand between these propositions. So the very first is the A and E, right? So here it defines the direct relation between A and E. So it is your categorical categorical relationship that we will be finding between A and E. So it is termed as contrary, right? So A and E type of relationship, it is termed as contrary. So now moving ahead with other type of relationship that we will be discussing is between A and O and E and I. So in this video we will be focusing on this type of contradictory relation only that exists between A and O, I and E, right? So other type of relation that we will be deducing is between I and O. So it is considered as subcontrary, right? And there exists the last type of relationship that will exist between these type of proposition, that is E and O and A and I. We will be referring these relations as alternation. Alterations, right? So these are the types of relationship that we are going to understand in the concept of square of opposition. So this is your square, right? So your square of opposition will include all other four types of proposition A, E, I, O, and we are going to understand the relationship between these types of propositions. So these are the types of relationship we will be discussing in further videos as well. But for today's video, we will be only focusing on A and O, E and I type of proposition. So let's get ahead with the A, O and E and type of proposition that are contradictory to each other. So now let us see how are they contradicting to each other. Let's take one example here. Okay, so in order to understand the concept of square of opposition, the very basic thing that we need to understand before moving ahead is the concept of distribution. I will make a separate video on the concept of distribution, but let's go through the basics once again. For today's video, we will be focusing only on the concept of square of opposition, contradictory categorical propositions. So now let us go through the concept of distribution. So what does it mean when a categorical proposition is distributed? So let us take one example for all SRP. This is your all type of proposition, categorical proposition. This is your no type of proposition. This is your some type of proposition, and this is your some not type of proposition. So always remember this, that all only distributes its subject, not its predicate, right? What I'm trying to tell is, so here is your statement. With all, we have S, so it is your subject, and we have P, this is your predicate. So now what does all do is, all will distribute only your subject, not your predicate. Moving ahead with no, your no will distribute both the subject as well as the predicate, right? Then we have some. So your sum is a type of categorical proposition that does not distribute either of them, either the subject or so sum is a type of proposition that does not distribute neither the subject nor the predicate. Moving ahead with some and some not. We know that sum does not distribute, like whatever the suffix is used with sum, so it will not distribute it. So here we have sum, so s will not get distributed, but here we have no. We know that no will distribute whatever is like with next to that r suffix with the no. So here p will get distributed. I will make a different video on how this distribution works. So let us say a simple example for all. So what is happening here? So let me tell you a simple example. So when we say like all rings are jewelry, right? We are saying that all rings, so it is distributed, meaning that all types of rings will come under the category of jewelry, right? But if I say that jewelry, is it distributed or not? We will say no. Why? Because we know that jewelry does not list only rings, like we can also add chains and other type of jewelry in it, right? So that's how we can say that it is not distributing. So this is the concept of distributing. It is like putting a category into other category, right? So when we can put a certain thing in under its subset, so we can say that it is getting distributed. So this is the basic. You have to understand this before moving ahead with the concept of square of opposition. Let's have a look at it. Try to understand it. If you are not able to get it, go through the video for distribution of subject and predicate. How do we do this? So that's a basic video. I recommend you to go through that video if you are not getting this part. So let's move ahead with this type of relationship, that is contradictory type of relation, that we are going to discuss in the concept of square of opposition, that is based on immediate inferences, that is based on single premises. So now let's see what is it. So in contradictory type of relationship, we have these at extremes, right? So we will be finding the relation between A and O and E and I. So these are termed, so when we derive the relationship between A and O and E and I, we term these type of relationships as contradictory relationships in the concept of square opposition. So now let us try to understand why do we call them contradictory relationships. So what is the meaning of contradictory? So when we say when certain thing is true, on the other hand we are telling that the thing is not true. So what are we trying to tell is that the things are contradicting to each other. On the other hand, we are saying that it is affirmative, and comparatively on the other hand, we are saying it is not affirmative. So how we are going to get to a conclusion? So that's why we call such relationships as contradictory relationships. You might be wondering what is happening in this scenario. What have I written here? It cannot be true and false together at the same time. Here I have written that if one is true, other is definitely false. What does it mean? So now let us try to have a look at certain examples in order to understand the contradictory relationship. Let us take this example. So you know that I have given you certain statements that they cannot be true and false together, and on the other hand I'm saying that if one is true, the other is definitely false. So what is happening here? So let us take one example for A type of proposition. It states that all states are entities located inside a country, right? And O type of proposition will what? Some states are not entities located inside a country, right? So let us take one example. So this is our India, for instance. I'm not able to draw India, sorry for that. So contradictory statements. So let us take one example to understand how are they one is true and other one is false at the same time, and they cannot be true and false altogether. So now let us take one all A type of proposition, that is your all, and O type of proposition, that is your some not, right? So now what is going to happen? So A type of proposition, its example will be all states are entities located inside a country, right? And O type will be some states are not entities located inside a country. So what do we mean here? So when I'm trying to tell you that all the states are entities, right, they are located inside the premises of a country, they will collectively termed as a country, right? And on the O type of proposition, I am entirely contradicting it. I am saying that some states which are like they are not the entities located inside a country. So here I am telling the exact opposite of it, right? So when I'm trying, what I'm trying to here tell you is that O type of proposition is entirely contradicting this A type of proposition. So we cannot say that on like they are together at the same time. Why? Because at once we are saying all states are entities. At once we are telling that all the states we are considering, they are the entities that are located inside a country. But on the other hand, we are contradicting our own selves, our own statement. We are saying that some states are not entities located inside a country. How is it possible, right? It is not possible, because in order to do so, we have to consider only one logical inference or only one logical conclusion from these two statements, right? Either this can be true or this can be true. We cannot say that at the same time all the states are entities located inside a country, and at the same time we are saying that some states are not the entities that are located inside a country. So it is contradictory, so, right? So that's why we have to take only one conclusion at one time. So either we can assume that this is correct, right? Maybe some states, right, only the some states are the entities that are located inside the premises. If we are taking this, so it will become false, right? On the other hand, if we are considering this scenario, if we are taking all the states that are entities located inside a country is true, so now what is going to happen? So this O proposition will get falsify. Why? Because at the same time we cannot say that all is true and some is not true, right? So it is contradictory in effect. So that's how we understood the concept of square of opposition for contradictory relationship between A and O, E and I. Moving ahead with other type of proposition. So here we took the example for A and O. Now we will take example for E and I type of proposition. So now let us see the example for E and I type of proposition. So what is happening here? So no, so E is a type of proposition that has no in it. So now we are saying no states are entities located inside a country. On the other hand, we are taking this I categorical proposition as some states are entities that are located inside a country. So now what is going to happen? You can see that these two statements are contradicting to themselves, right? On the one hand, we are saying that no states, we are not considering any of the states, right? But on the other hand, we are saying that some states are entities that can be included inside a country. So again, they are also contradicting to each other. That's why they cannot be true altogether, right? So that's why they cannot be true altogether. So that's the reason one has to be true and other one has to be false, right? If we are taking this type of proposition as true, so this one has to be definitely false. So that's the concept of contradictory relationships and it is a part of square of opposition. So that's how we are deriving the conclusion and inferences based on these contradictory relationships, right? We can see that here we are just talking about the extreme levels. On the one hand, we are saying all the elements are true, right? But on the contrary, we are saying that some elements are not true. So we are not taking together as a conclusion. We have to consider only one premise and one conclusion at one time. Same happens with no and I type of proposition. In no, we are saying that no elements are part of other element, right? But to its contrary, we are saying that some elements are parts of its other element, so it is not going to happen, right? So this is how they are contradictory to each other, and I think that's how we derive the relationship between these categorical proposition based on square of opposition, that is contradictory relationship. So in order to have this a or e, if a is, we are considering a, either a or e as true, then we will be having I or O as false. And here the concept of vice versa. So that was it for today's video. I hope you learned something today. Thank you for watching.